Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Adamantium Gaming here, and today we're going to be playing some Clash Royale, as I'm sure you can see. And today we're going to be just playing in a standard 1,000-person tournament, normal battles, level 9 max, and it's just a generic one that some random person has made. It's not any big competitive tournament. And we're doing that because we're going to be trying out a deck that I have only played once before, right before recording this video, one match. Did win it, so that was pretty great to have that first try of this deck go well. But this is a new deck that I recently saw and I wanted to try out because it has so many pigs. You have the Royal Hogs and you have the Hog Rider, and I love my piggies and I want to try out this deck because it's very different. It's a very different deck, but it also, for whatever reason, seems to be somewhat viable. But as you can see, my card levels for these cards are a little lower, so I didn't want to take it straight to ladder, seeing as it's not a deck I'm experienced with or have my levels up for. And so we're gonna go into the tournament and get a match. And so I'll explain more about this deck. The first time I saw this deck was last weekend in a scrim between Team Liquid and Cream Esports. It was one of the Slaton super scrims put on by Rich Slaton. They're really great. I'll link to his channel and the specific recording of the scrim. It was a live stream at the time. However, you can rewatch it on YouTube now. And so this deck was played by Surgical Goblin in a match against Yeray, and Surge ended up losing with the deck, if I remember correctly, but he played it really well, and it was honestly a shock to everyone watching it. I was watching it live, and got to see a lot of the reactions of the commentators and of people in the chat, and it was just such a strange deck to have both Royal Hogs and Hog Rider, and he played it really well, and actually it was a very interesting match. I definitely suggest you watch it. I'll go back and find out what the timestamp is for that and make sure to note that down below, so if you decide to check out the original stream, you can watch that and see for yourself how it goes, because it was a really great match and a really surprising match how well this deck worked, because it really doesn't seem like it would be viable given that you have so many building targeting cards, but it did work surprisingly well. So I just wanted to try it out. It's definitely a very different deck, as I've already said so many times, and I just want to try out a new deck, have kind of fun with it, low-key chill tournament like this. Really no stakes at all. I can't even say low stakes because there's literally none. But yeah, so you can see this matchup is not going too well for us. I'm a little distracted, obviously, because I'm telling you guys about the scrim and the game that I originally saw it in, but it also just isn't the best matchup for us, I don't think. I think one of the weaknesses in this deck might be the lack of air defense. You do have the Hunter and the Firecracker, but in my opinion, I don't know that that's really enough. And I am someone who tends to play decks that don't have a lot of air support in them, which is not good. You should not do that. But that's just how I tend to play. One of the decks that I really like doesn't have very good air support. So I'm used to this, but it's still a hard matchup, as you can see. And those cannon carts are really difficult to stop once they get in there. The deck I've been playing on ladder recently has cannon cart, and cannon cart really does serve as a second win condition. And I think in the deck we just played against, it was kind of the only win condition. Someone in your tournament is looking for a match. I know, because that someone would be me. Yeah, for whatever reason in tournaments, it always seems like it takes forever to match up, and I always have to cancel and go back in. It's also the only time that the cancel button ever works in Clash Royale. The amount of times I have hit the cancel button and gone into a game at a very inopportune moment because the cancel button didn't work. Yeah, it's happened during family stuff, family functions. It happened to me during work before, which was very embarrassing. And of course, it's a ladder match. You can't not play it. You're gonna lose trophies. So, had some interesting experiences with the cancel button not working. Seems like depending on what cards you have in hand, that really is a big deal in this deck. So as I'm still getting used to it, we'll probably have quite a few problems with it, not knowing how to respond and how to cycle through the cards. I think probably winning with this deck is very dependent on your matchup as well, simply just because you have 2 building targeting cards. If you're going against something that has a building that's going to be difficult to break through, and like we already talked about, you don't have a lot of defense for air. That Magic Archer is brutal. Whoever says Magic Archer is dead, I think does not know what they are talking about. So I'm gonna try to sneak in these Royal Hogs, and we'll see if it works. Unfortunately, he fireballs, and that kind of just destroys our push. But we're doing the best we can. I'm just gonna Quake to try to get extra damage over there. Ugh, our cannon card. Well, his cannon card's gonna get a lot. Not ours. I wish it were ours. Yeah. That cannon cart really is brutal. Like, both times, that's kind of what's been able to take us down, is the cannon cart. So waiting for a match yet again. I can't understand at all the fact that it always says to me someone in your tournament is looking for a match, but it never matches me. Like, I'm already in the process of matchmaking, but just another fun thing of Clash Royale, I suppose. So Skelly Barrel at the bridge, first play. Interesting. Definitely interesting. So already he has a lead on us. It's not a huge lead, but it is something notable. we just don't have the right responses. As fun as I think the cards in this deck are, I really don't know that it's viable unless you are a pro player, which I am not. Surgical Goblin definitely is, but I'm definitely not. I also will admit that I am not really well versed in Heal Spirit yet. I haven't played it a ton. I want to try playing it more, but I'm just not that great at playing it, and it seems like in this deck you have to be ready to use it in a lot of different ways, both paired with your offensive pushes and also being able to use it as a troop on defense, since you really don't have a lot of troops for defense to begin with. So we didn't get a good amount of damage with that hog push. It's not going to be enough though, since he has a solo on our left tower. And yeah, he goes ahead and takes that. Yeah, and he has the bomb tower, so he's able to stop our pushes since, like I said, we have the building targeting cards. I am curious what people I'm playing against think of this deck, because it is so strange, and obviously I'm not playing it that well. So I am definitely curious as to what other people seeing me play this are thinking. I know I would be pretty baffled if I had not just seen it on Super Scrims, because it's just so strange. I definitely would see the hog and assume, no way, there's gonna be Royal Hogs, or vice versa, see the Royal Hogs and assume, no way, there's gonna be Hog Rider in this. I think we'll actually get some good starting damage. I just tried to push those Royal Hogs in since we had kind of a pseudo push, counter push with those barbarians over on the left. And I figured he couldn't defend it all well. He could defend it, but not well. He does manage to get King Tower activation, which was pretty impressive actually. I didn't think he had placed the Ice Golem in quite the right spot, but he did. It is tricky sometimes getting King Tower activation from the Firecracker because she's a little unpredictable with how she moves. So props to him for that. Kind of wish I'd given him the well played back when he did it. It's a little late now, but yeah, he's definitely gonna take our tower with that boom because we just don't have the right air defense in hand when he played it. And so he'll take that with the death damage. Or no, I'm thinking ladder values, I guess, not tournament standard values. So that's good for us that he doesn't actually take it quite yet. So it is interesting having the two win conditions, because it does make it so that you can do pushes at the same time. Oh, he's gonna get balloon rage from the lumberjack. Seems like this is what everyone plays nowadays, is just balloon rage. Either through the lumberjack or through literally dropping the rage spell. So we take that tower, however I am concerned because we're so low on our left side that I don't know that we can actually defend this. Although he's being a little weird and going... Oh, well, he has log, that's why. He was going for the 3 crown because he knew that he could take it. Good game. Well played. So we did have more success there, so we're getting better at this. And with any deck that you're just trying to play, it's all about just trial and error and keep practicing it. Practice, practice, practice. Probably shouldn't have done all my air defense at once. That was definitely a mistake on my part, but I'm just kind of trying to cycle and play cards that I know will defend against those goblins well. Oh, I put those skeletons near the tower thinking that that's where the miner was going to go, because I just heard him, I wasn't actually watching him, and that was not where he was headed. This P.E.K.K.A.'s going to do serious damage, and we don't have anything to counter right now. Yikes. We're dead. This is so bad. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think we can come back from this, but we'll keep playing. I don't like giving up matches. Might as well give your opponent something to work at and practice as well. Yeah, so we'll get a little bit of damage with those piggies, but definitely not enough. I don't think it's ever really gonna be enough. Yeah, he's gonna take that tower too. Good game. Well played. We only have 30 seconds left, so I'll let him take the king tower. You will see we are at 1 win with this. I did not lie. We did manage to win the first match I played. We're gonna keep going, trying for a win. If we don't get one, that's okay. We're still seeing how this deck works, and seeing what it loses to and how it loses is just as important to understand as knowing how to win with it, because if you know what it loses to, you'll realize, okay, that's not a good matchup for this, and of course if you're playing pro, you might be able to guess what your opponent might be playing, and plan ahead based on that, strategize, and if you're playing casually, you know what the meta is, you know what is typical within your trophy range, and of course that's never completely predictable, but you know, okay, this isn't something to use in this particular situation. So this is going to be an expo match, which I am very hopeful about because the first one that we won was an expo match, and I think the earthquake does help a lot. I know I've heard expo players complain a lot about earthquake before. I do think earthquake's a good card right now because of how popular certain building cards and spawner cards are. However, I do think Earthquake is a very niche card, and it does counter certain decks like Expo that heavily rely on building decks, and sometimes that doesn't really seem fair that it really just counters that one thing, and that one other thing, like building based decks, Expo decks, really have no chance when you have Earthquake. Well, actually, I wouldn't say no chance, but it's a lot harder for them. They have to play it a lot better. Usually have to find some sort of way to outcycle you, which is high skill play. It is. You hear everyone talk about how Expo essentially is either super high skill or super low skill, and that all depends on who's playing it. And of course, what the matchup is as well. I don't know why that didn't lock onto the hunter. Ah! Okay, not worry. He's really low on the right tower because we managed to get some troops in there. He might manage to take the left if he gets another lock, depending on how long the lock is for. But we shall see. Yeah, so he gets another one. I don't think it's gonna be in time though. No. So I can confirm this deck is brilliant against Expo. And I think the reason for that is, one, because of the Earthquake. But then, two, because you have the two building targeting troops. And so of course your opponent can pull your Hog Rider and your Royal Hogs to the Tesla or the Expo, but you still have that other card. So if you time your play of it correctly, if you plan it out, you can push on both sides, or you can push first to get Tesla, Expo, whatever's up there, and then I have no idea why he just said good game to me and why he's BMing like this. Literally nothing has happened yet. It's fine. It's weird. But anyway, yes, against Expo, when you send in, let's say, Hogs towards the Expo and Tesla, and they'll take that down, and then soon after that you can send in the Hog Rider. It's all about planning with that, and I think having the two building targeting cards and the Earthquake really make it a fantastic match when facing Expo, which is definitely different for me because pretty much all of the decks I typically play are not good against Expo, and typically with one building targeting card, that's not a great situation against Expo. That was a finger slip right there. I tried to drag and it did not work, unfortunately. So I think he's playing the standard Hog Rider Heal Spirit deck that's been going around recently. I'm not sure without looking right on it, to be honest. I'm not super familiar with that deck. I've been seeing it, of course, but I'm not really thinking about that right now. So I think that's the one he's playing, the one that just literally everyone is playing, but I could be wrong. And I will say I'm pretty sure that's what the matchup between Surgical Goblin and Yeray was, which Yeray won. I would have to double check that. I'm not totally certain. But definitely interesting if that is the case as to what these decks are. Wow, how did he take out my pigs with that fireball? That's insane. They must have been down a lot more than I realized. So yeah, he's definitely defeating me in this. And I don't even know if I'd call this a mirror match. I don't think it can, I mean, obviously there's some temptation to do that because they're both Royal Hogs decks, but they're so different that I don't know that I can really say that is. So, well played to our opponent. He played the deck the way it's supposed to be played. Clearly he loves his hogs as well. Where's my bunny pig? There we go. Alright, so let's go into one more match, see if we can have any other interesting matchups. But yeah, as far as the mirror match of pigs versus pigs, I honestly don't think you can call that a mirror match in this, because this deck is... you can't play it like a normal pigs deck, is what I'm kind of slowly realizing. I have no idea why I just cycled the Heal Spirit. I'm losing it, guys. But yeah, you definitely can't play it like a normal pigs deck, I'm realizing. I still don't know exactly how you can play it. I think I'm gonna try this out more and maybe make a second video about it once I feel like maybe I'm a little better at it than I am now. So we have another Expo matchup, which unfortunately for us, I misplayed this at the beginning. I guess in my head I just didn't think at all that we were gonna have Expo, even though it really was clearly Expo. We saw that Tesla, all the signs were there, and I ignored them all. I think we definitely can come back from this. We're just gonna have to try our best to play it. Obviously, we've talked about this being a good... I miss the Tesla. I'm not doing so hot right now, guys. I think this is definitely gonna be our last match of the day, and like I said, maybe I will practice this some more and come back with another video actually being able to instruct you guys on a good way of playing this, because clearly I am not doing a good job of it right now. But yeah, I mean, Expo, this is in favor of me. I have matchup here, but I messed up in the beginning, so we're almost assuredly not going to win this match simply because of that. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I know what I was trying to do there, which did not work. Yeah, thinking hog, me too, buddy. I don't know what I'm doing. I wish they had a "you're welcome" chat box in response to the things, because sometimes I just wanna let them know that I know I am not playing well. I know that this was bad. I know I had matchup. I think the closest I can give to that is the crying ghost. Yeah, so we're gonna call this a video, guys. I'm sorry that this has been such a strange gameplay that we've been watching, such a strange deck. I'd encourage you guys to try it out though in kind of the same format I did. Just play it in a chill game mode because it's interesting and it's fun and it's different, and I like different decks. I like playing different decks. Something that's a little out there, something that isn't meta right now. I do think, looking at these cards, it definitely potentially could have a place in the meta, but having such little gameplay to look at for this, because no one's really going around playing this deck. I've seen Surgical Goblin play it just that once. I kind of hope he puts out a video talking about this deck, so that could help me to learn it a bit more. That could help us all to learn it a bit more. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing around with it and see how it goes, and if I think that it is a legitimately viable deck, because right now I think it has that potential, and I might just not be the one to play it right, because as I've said many times, I am not a pro. I'm an average player, doing my best to get better every day. And hopefully I can get better at this and maybe see that it is actually a viable deck once you know what you're doing, once you're familiar with the cards and more familiar with the matchups as well. I'm sure Surgical Goblin probably practiced this deck a lot beforehand and determined that it was viable. What I would be interested in seeing is if this is viable more within the average skill range of a Clash Royale player instead of just at that pro level. So like I said, I'll link to Surge playing the deck, and I hope you guys check that out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, even though it was pretty messy. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.